Well, hello everyone, I'm Will, I'm part of the team here at St. John's, and I'm going to do a Holy Week reflection on Isaiah 49, 1-7. So let's see what it says. It says, "Listen to me, O coastlands, pay attention, you peoples from far away. The Lord called me before I was born. While I was in my mother's womb, he named me. He made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadow of his hand, he hid me. He made me a polished arrow. In his quiver, he hid me away. And he said to me, 'You are my servant, Israel, in whom I will be glorified.' But I said, 'I have labored in vain. I have spent my strength for nothing and vanity. Yet surely my cause is with the Lord, and my reward with my God.' And now the Lord says, who formed me in the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob back to him, and that Israel might be gathered to him. For I am honored in the sight of the Lord, and my God has become my strength. He says, 'It is too light a thing that you should be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob, and to restore the survivors of Israel. I will give you as a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the ends of the earth.' Thus says the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel and his Holy One, to one deeply despised, abhorred by the nations, the slave of rulers. Kings shall see and stand up, princes, and they shall prostrate themselves, because of the Lord who is faithful, the Holy One of Israel, who has chosen you." Today I want to be speaking about the servant's mission. This passage in Isaiah 49 is all about God the Father sending Jesus Christ, the Son, to bring about, as it says in verse 6, a light to the nations and salvation to all the ends of the earth. This Sunday we will be celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ and the defeat of death and the hope of new life and new beginnings. And quite rightly, this is an amazing feat, an amazing experience, an amazing opportunity to remind ourselves of what Jesus did on the cross. But I wonder a week later, if I brought back all the same people who came to that Easter Sunday service, whether we would still have that same sense of joy, celebration, and opportunity. Do we let what our whole week has been, or what's going through in our life, to maybe cloud that love and promises of Jesus? Isaiah 49 is not just about the call of Jesus. It's about the call of each and every single one of us to bring light to the nations, to bring light to our context, and to proclaim the good news. God could do all of this himself, but he chooses you and me. He wants to do this with us. At the end of Matthew, in the Great Commission, Jesus says, "Remember, I am with you always, till the very end of the age." This call is to us all, to continue the good work that Jesus started 2,000 years ago. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, that person who stood up to Nazi Germany in World War II, talks in his book, The Cost of Discipleship, about cheap grace. Cheap grace means justification for sin, but not of the sinner. Preaching forgiveness without repentance. Baptism without discipleship. Baptism without discipline of a community. Grace without discipleship. Grace without the cross. Grace without the King, Jesus Christ. This road, this journey with Jesus we must take will be hard. It's not all about the celebrating and the joy of the cross, although that is a big part of it. But it's actually in those hard times we are formed, molded, and brought forward and close to Jesus in those hard times. We are formed more into Christ's likeness. Sometimes it may feel like we are laboring in vain, as it says in verse 4. But it's in that labor where we dig deeper. We delve more. We are then more formed, molded, challenged, transformed by the light and love of Jesus. And we then see the world through Jesus' perspective. And what is this perspective? Well, it's seeing the light around us, believing that we can see injustice restored and justice restored. It's about seeing the injustices in the world around us and acting upon it, choosing to actually say, yes, the world does need to change. Let me be a part of it, Lord. Steve has chatted to us a lot in our staff team and in his preaches about holy discontent. What injustices are we seeing in the world around us that we want to change, that we're getting passionate about? This whole passage in Isaiah 49 is a vision statement for Jesus' ministry that doesn't end when Jesus died and rose again, but continues to this day through Jesus working in us. Jesus working in us for his glory. Indeed, he has called all of us before we were in our mother's womb. He has named me. He has named you. And he continues to draw people towards himself, that people would know about this person, Jesus, and that people would know about this amazing feat that occurred back then on that first Easter. That hope of a new beginning, new life, new creation, new identity, and a new purpose. There is still a lot of change needed in the world. Perhaps even more so than when Isaiah was writing that passage. You only have to turn on the TV, scroll through the news app on your phone to know that we live in a broken world full of injustice. But it doesn't have to be like this. And indeed, there is a hope, Jesus. As it says in verse 5, God is our strength. God is our strength. It is only through God that we can see change happen, relationships healed, and revival occur. It means stepping in and fighting the injustice in this world, fighting against the enemy who seeks to downtrod the earth, and getting our hands dirty. Bridgetown Church, where John Mark Comer pastors, talks about getting the dirt underneath our fingernails, to not just watch from the sidelines or dip our toe in the water, but to get fully immersed. But it starts with us. It starts with us being intentional and being part of a pattern group, being intentional and having accountability about following and practicing the ways of Jesus that Steve's been talking about, or coming to group and being discipled by others, learning more about Jesus. It's choosing to go deeper. It's choosing to say yes to Jesus. It's choosing to say, yes, I want to be a part of what Jesus is doing in this context that I'm in right now. It's saying yes to being molded in the way of Jesus. Because when we do that, and we do join in with that amazing vision in Isaiah 49, when we all come together as a body of believers, all of us are needed. Because God has called each and every one of us. Each and every one of us have gifts that God has given us to advance this kingdom, to bring people closer to Jesus, and see lives transformed by the power of that first Easter 2,000 years ago.